Go ask the wise down, go ask him, he might know all the answers to all of the things that I've wanted to know, like how does the grass grow, how to count.
Okay, welcome everybody. This is week 2 of Global Music Match, and we are interviewing a lovely duo from Australia, Charm of Finches. Here they are.
Hi guys, how you doing?
Hi.
Hey,
Great, yeah.
really good.
Oh, thanks
Bright
for
and
joining
early.
us. Yes, bright and early for you. Not so bright for us. We're a bit
Yeah. Yeah.
And how's it all going in Melbourne? Are you guys still in lockdown?
Yeah, we are. We're in stage 4 lockdown at the moment.
Yeah.
So we've got a curfew, so we can't go out after 8 p.m. We have to wear masks when we go outside. All that.
Wow.
Yeah. I think we're coming out of it in a couple of weeks or something. That's the plan, but we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess that's, as with us, totally affecting your gigs and plans.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. We
It's-
have been doing a couple of live, online shows, but yeah, all the live gigs. Who knows when they'll go back? Yeah.
Yeah, it's really tough, isn't it? And it's really interesting talking to people in different parts of the world. We were talking to Darling West today from Norway, and they're actually on tour at the moment,
Yeah.
which is their rescheduled gigs that got cancelled in the spring. So I think they've
Yeah.
worked things out a bit better in Norway, but it's definitely not got that far in the UK yet. We're not in
Yeah.
lockdown, but gigs seem to be the final thing to start happening
Yeah,
again.
Yeah. Well, they cancelled. You played Woodford, haven't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they cancelled Woodford, which is over New Year's. So that was sad.
What, the upcoming one, you mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
Shame.
wow. Yeah, they're talking about maybe they won't even be able to do Glastonbury next year, which is like, because it's so
Yeah.
many months of planning, I suppose, isn't it? It's
Yeah, I think
crazy
that's it.
times. Yeah. And how have you found lockdown as a time? Like, I know some people have actually found it a really creative time and used having so much time at home to write loads of songs. But I also know that a lot of people, including myself, I think, certainly at first found it just so overwhelming that even though you suddenly had time, it was hard to know how to make use of it. I just wondered how that was for you guys.
Yeah, I think I was a lot like that at the start of it, lockdown. It was so overwhelming to have so much time. I'm like, how are we going to use this? But I think, starting to have some sort of routine, making a routine for myself was really good. And then Ivy and I started working on demos for our next album. We were going to be touring our album that we released last year, this year, but all of that got cancelled. So we decided, well, why don't we just use this time to work on the next release, I guess. So we've got a lot of songs in the works, and we've been demoing heaps. So it's been quite fun and quite creative.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. I'm glad to hear that. That's cool. And tell me about your songwriting as well, your songwriting process. Do you both write, and how do you start getting a song going? Where does the idea come from?
Yeah, well, often we write together, and sometimes I'll write a song and bring it to Mabel, and she'll put some harmonies on it and tell me if it's bad or good, and vice versa. But it's a bit of both. Sometimes we sit down together and go, okay, let's write a song. We might have something in mind, and sometimes we use we like to use a book sometimes to just make our way into a song. We'll choose like our favourite phrases and use them as starting points, and we might put on a chord progression that we really like. We'll record 1.5 minutes of it, and we'll just have it on repeat in the background while we write, and then we'll share what we've written and sort of combine the good ideas. And that's some ways that we start writing.
That's really cool. That's a really good. That's a very inspiring method. Actually, I'm going to try that.
Yeah, it can be really fun.
Yeah. I think I end up, when I'm songwriting, maybe being more kind of story based or story focused, and try and tell a story. But actually, I think some of my favourite songs are quite a lot more abstract than that, and so maybe just picking a phrase and a chord progression would be a really different way into it. So
Yeah, we tend to do quite abstract ways. Like Have you ever used the random word generator? Which is quite fun. So we'll have a one word from the random word generator for each line. So we have to incorporate that random word in every line, which sometimes just sounds silly, but you get some interesting stuff out of it.
Yeah.
One or two lines are good out of 20.
Yeah. But there's an amazing technical exercise for your brain, isn't it? Because I think that there's this whole thing about how you've got the art of it, but the craft of it is actually also really important, and it has to be practiced, doesn't it? I think people think that inspiration descends like some kind of divine thing, and you don't actually have to put the work in. But I think being really technically good with language and flexible is a huge skill, isn't it? So
it's great when a song just seems to drop from the heavens and you're like, wow, it's like it was already written and I don't have to work so hard. But that doesn't always happen, does it? And
no, exactly.
You have to bring your creative processes to work, don't you?
Yeah. And I have to ask you about people will get to see the collaboration that we've done together, and that's a song of yours called Miranda, which we hugely enjoyed playing on. So thanks for sharing it with us.
Thank you for playing on it.
It was great fun, really great fun, and it's a really clever song. It's a really subtle story, I think, and it's got a bit of a twist in the end. And I just where does that come from? Is this someone you know? I'm dying to find out.
Well, it's not. I did make up the person. Basically, it's a song about jealousy, and when I was feeling jealous that time, and I tend to write songs when I'm feeling something and I want to express it in some way, and I decided I'd write a song about someone who was not as good at dealing with the feeling of jealousy as I was, to make me feel good about myself. So this it's about this woman called Miranda who, she's very jealous, and she thinks, oh, he likes that girl better than me, but in the end it's all in her head, and unfortunately
don't spoil the ending.
Maybe you can go and listen to the song and hear what happens.
I'm sure people will. It's a great twist in the tale of that one. I really like it, but I was a bit concerned if it was someone you knew. So I'm glad to hear it's a cathartic exercise.
Sorry to any listeners whose name is Miranda. I don't want to target you.
Well, I thought it was. It was subtle because it was quite sympathetic to Miranda. I felt for her. I think maybe everyone's felt like that at some point. So.
Well,
that makes it a good song.
Oh, thank you.
Well, as you know, guys, we've toured in Australia a few times. I think we were at the same festivals. Was it last year or the year before? I lose track.
A couple of years ago. Was it Woodford?
Was it Woodford?
We definitely were.
I think it was when we were at the National, maybe. I don't know. I lose track.
I think I remember talking to you guys briefly at the toilet block at Woodford.
Okay.
Yes, I do remember. I think we did 2018 and 2019.
We did,
and I think it was Woodford 2018, like the very beginning of 2018. Maybe.
Yeah, well, we've enjoyed playing in Australia. It seems you've got a very kind of open, the folk scene you've got there seems quite open, and it's almost like a world music kind of vibe you have there, which is we've enjoyed, because the music that we play doesn't necessarily fit that well into the folk music bracket, so it suits us quite well. But we just wanted to get your views on what it's like to be a musician in Australia. Do you and the distances were an issue for us, and we had to get on a lot of planes. And does that have an impact on the way that you conduct yourselves in your career in Australia?
I think we're very lucky that we live in Melbourne, because Melbourne is an awesome place to be a musician. There are so many musicians in Melbourne. In fact, our suburb, I think it's like the capital of country musicians. Like, there's the most country musicians that lives in our
Victoria
suburb.
Can't remember.
I really didn't explain that very well, but you get what I mean. Yeah.
Sounds good.
There's heaps of country musicians where we live. We're not country though, but you know, we've got a lot of neighbours that are musicians. It's not strange to see someone walking down our street with a guitar on their back, or we've got heaps of venues up the top of our hill where we live. So there's like 5 really great venues up there, which is awesome. And yeah,
In terms of like being in Australia, because it's so big, I think we have, you know, you can tour a lot in this country and, you know, not even reach everybody. Like, it's a very big place, so you know,
we do have to catch
lots
a
of
lot of planes.
options. Yeah.
Yeah, we found that the internal flights were quite well geared up to musicians though, because we travel with about 17 guitars,
Yeah.
which is usually a problem. But I'm not having any trouble at the Australian airport, so I was just loading the guitars onto the conveyor belt, and they seem to be expecting them really. Whereas if you do that in an airport in the UK, if you turn up with 3 or 4 guitars, they look at you like you're crazy.
Yeah,
So
well, one of
that was nice.
one of the main airlines has like a special thing for musicians where you can have extra luggage, which
Yeah.
is really nice. Yeah.
That's great. And Melbourne, we did play in Melbourne in the Spotted Mallard a couple of times. You know that venue, obviously you do.
Yeah.
Which was a great venue.
Yeah, really cool.
Yeah. In Brunswick, is that right? Is that correct?
Yeah,
That's
Brunswick.
right.
We
Is
played
that-
there a couple of times.
Where's that in relation to where you guys live?
It's about half an hour. Oh, it's like 15 minutes in a car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
15 minutes
I
drive.
was thinking half an hour on a bike because I travel by bike mostly, not when we do gigs though.
I was going to say that's very cool because when we spoke to Amelia and Suvi, they talked about touring by bicycle.
Yeah. I think everyone asked them the same question.
Yeah, I had to ask. So I kind of was thinking that if we were Australian musicians, our music would probably sound very different for lots of reasons, but also just the practical reason of touring, of if we were getting on those internal flights all the time, rather than just throwing everything in a van, we would probably strip it down and play fewer instruments between us. And I would. I'm lazy. I don't like carrying it all through the airport. Yeah. But it's interesting. The like we've been thinking a lot about how in lockdown not being able to tour. And for years before this, really, but obviously it's forced to stop to everything. It makes you think about the kind of ecological implications of touring, and I suppose that's why trying to find all our online solutions is like especially important. I just wondered if you guys had any thoughts about that, whether you plan to kind of keep doing gigs online even after lockdown, and what you think.
We found like the whole live stream thing pretty exciting.
Yeah, and people have responded really well to it. They've been really into it. We had a series every Monday night in the first lockdown that we had, which was really fun, where we just go on and we play songs and we get guests on. And we've had a couple of UK gigs online actually, which has been really nice because we don't even have to go there and we're already developing our audience
we
over
do
there,
get
which
up
is
at
really
3
good.
a.m. though. That's the only negative. But it's fine. It's worth it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Did I see that you did a gig for the Live Room in Saltaire?
Yeah.
We did,
Yeah.
that was the online one.
That was really
They're
loved
great
it.
people. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
was
a
awesome.
really nice venue. Yeah. Do
Yeah.
you have any plans to come to the UK, or have you played in the UK before?
No, we haven't. So we went to the Folk Alliance conference in New Orleans in January this year, with plans to start planning our UK tour and a bit of Europe, and that was supposed to be about now-ish, maybe a little later in the year, maybe in a couple of months. But then COVID hit and we had to cancel all that. So it will be in the future when we can tour again overseas.
Yeah. Well, we look forward to seeing you here. It would be really nice if you came and visited us.
Yeah, we will.
It would be awesome.
Yeah, it's been lovely to speak to you guys.
Yeah.
Thanks so much.
Yeah, it's been great to get to know you, having kind of seen you from a distance on stage in Australia and everything. So
Yeah, our paths have been crossing a little bit for years, I think.
yeah, exactly. Oh, cool. Well, thanks for chatting to us, and we look forward to getting to know you better over the coming weeks as well.
Yeah.
Cool.
Be awesome.
Bye, guys.
All right. Bye.
See ya.
Go asking, he might know all the answers to all of the things that I've wanted to know, like how does the grass grow? How did God